Shalom from Jerusalem. My name is Albert Veksler. I'm the director of Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast, and we are here with answers for our allies. We are sitting in our office in Jerusalem together with a good friend, Miguel Munoz. You served as the director of the special diplomatic mission from Honduras to Jerusalem, and now you serve as the senior spokesman of Christian Embassy of Jerusalem for the Spanish world. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Albert. It's my honor to be here and have the opportunity to open our heart.
Thank you. So we are speaking about the Latin American countries. We were talking about these different developments that we are seeing in Latin America. Of course, the initiative that you very much carried and helped to accomplish was the opening of Honduran Embassy here in Jerusalem. You were very much behind these scenes doing the work, weren't you?
Well, it's an opportunity to testify that 20 national leaders of the evangelical churches worked hardly for 5 years before of the opening of the embassy as the conclusion of a movement that began 24 years before.
Wow.
And had the opportunity to work among of them, and the Lord made calling by grace. When I received a call and an invitation from the president saying, I would like you to be my guarantor of the moving of the embassy.
That's quite an important role, and a really historic role you played. I mean, of course, United States opened their embassy in 2018, and then we've had how many more?
Guatemala.
Guatemala, pretty much after United States.
Yes.
And then Kosovo.
Kosovo opened for the first time their embassy here in Jerusalem directly.
And then, of course, Honduras, and then Papua New Guinea. And then we have more pledges that have come. But now we see the developments in South America, Latin America. Argentina has a new president who is friendly to Israel and has, again, promised to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. I mean, isn't it an amazing development in South America?
The new president of Argentina, Milei, he has brought a new, completely new kind of political expectation in the whole continent. Because it's the first time that they have not a common or regular right-wing leader, but more than that, he is a libertarian. And this is the first time that they have a libertarian. And libertarians in Latin America are awakening. And as he presents himself as a right-wing libertarian, right-wing parties in Latin America are feeling like he is one of them. But that is not exactly what is happening. For sure, the left wing and the extremely left party wing are feeling that they lose with the situation in Argentina. But the good thing is that he is that kind of person that has shown very openly his commitment, his thoughts. You know, there are leaders that you don't know what will happen with them because you don't know what they think about everything. And I heard that it will be very difficult for Milei to get the proper Minister of Economy for Argentina. Why? Because he is so brilliant in that matter. At the same time, Milei, as a libertarian, respect every liberty that include the liberty of religion. He has been very open to that, but at the same time, he has said that he has a heart for Judaism and that he began the process of conversion to Judaism.
Quite amazing story. Now, this definitely will be exciting to follow what will happen in Argentina because, of course, for decades of mismanagement, corruption, it is very hard to turn around a nation. It's like a big ship, and it will be a hard and difficult task to bring changes, to this large country. But we have to really pray for our Argentinian friends, don't you think so? To see success there.
The churches in Argentina had a very good heart connection with him because of Israel. And one of his key points and promises in his campaign was to move the embassy. Actually, he said that his first trip will be to the United States and also to Israel. But of course, now we understand that in the middle of the war won't be easy, but he talked to Prime Minister Netanyahu and he confirmed his decision to move the embassy.
That's quite amazing. Now, you being the spokesman of the Christian Embassy to the Spanish world, you understand Latin America in a different way than somebody from Israel would understand. What do you think, is there other nations that will be opening their hearts, recognizing Jerusalem and moving the embassy?
We have the idea that countries like Brazil and even Ecuador are countries that a lot of people have a connection with Israel and the Jewish people. Who are they? The evangelicals. There is a movement that is growing in Latin America that ties the evangelical with the kind of leaders that the country has. So we saw with Brazil, with Bolsonaro, he was so close.
Yeah, he was very close. I mean, I remember meeting with him, having a breakfast with him, and he said he had all his plans ready, but then COVID distracted him, and then it was too late before the elections to move the embassy.
We can see when the United States opened the embassy, when Guatemala opened the embassy, when Honduras opened the embassy here in Jerusalem, who were all those persons that came with the different presidential commission? There were flights full of evangelical leaders, because evangelicals has supported through faith-based diplomacy, through religious diplomacy, their governments, and they have been a key to support this. Now, it is sad to say, but in the middle of this war, Israel is losing the media war, and we as Christians had the opportunity to be side by side Israel and speak the truth. But there is a three area The third one is that among the Christians, there is a new talking about, I mean, theologically, about Israel. And I have talked to many Christians saying that to love Israel is bigger than the desire to come to Jerusalem. This is the opportunity to develop and strengthening our convictions. I am talking about this idea of replacement theology, that in the Palestinian narrative that they have heard about it, they have taken it, and they are dividing the Christians.
Well, they claim even from the government seats that Jesus was a Palestinian.
Yes, yes.
What a joke.
Yes, every Christmas you can hear that, but this Christmas is in the front lines, and I am aware that we need to lift our voices and we need to teach our churches because it is dangerous. It is dangerous. For such a time like this, we need to speak accordingly to our belief.
According to the Bible.
According to the Bible.
Now, but which countries in Latin America do you think are moving closer to Israel, despite the fact that we are in a war? Argentina definitely surprised us.
Yes, Argentina and also Paraguay.
Paraguay?
Yes. Paraguay, they are also talking about moving the embassy.
Okay.
Yes, and they have this kind of speech that maybe more political, maybe more economical, even when we said that the main reason or the real reason to support Israel is not economical, political, social, military, is biblical. But they are very familiar. They have seen history. Every country that has related at the best with Israel has the blessing of the Lord.
Definitely, we can see it throughout the history. It's the history lessons I've been teaching and sharing with many leaders. But you mentioned Bolivia. Where is Bolivia standing?
No, Bolivia, they cancel all relations with Israel, the government.
So bad.
So bad, so bad.
But you are going to speak with their churches.
That's what I'm saying, when our expectation is that the churches awake and speak, because there is a big movement all around Latin America through evangelical churches supporting Israel. Bolivia is one of the countries that send more religious tourists to Israel, even when they are the third poorest country of Latin America. And they have conviction. So now we need to develop commitment. They have a government, a very left-wing government, that they are not friendly with Israel, sadly.
But the previous government wasn't it?
Well, yes, but this government, just in the beginning of the war, they took this decision
To remove the relations.
to remove the relations.
Bring back the ambassador?
Yes.
Any other countries that did the same in Latin America?
Well, Honduras called the ambassador, but it was just a, a very usual situation. Not has been it hasn't been more something to worry about, but Bolivia did it.
I see. Now, there are also many smaller nations, Suriname and of course Panama. How do they relate to Israel? What is their relationship?
In general, countries like Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, Ecuador. Ecuador has very good relations with Israel. They also open commercial offices here in Jerusalem. And of course, this situation of the war maybe has this not only confusion but doubt in the mind of so many leaders. And nobody will talk about it. Nobody will have a talking speech as the Christians, because the social leader, the businessmen, the political leader, they not only have their own values that probably we share many of them, but they have their own interest. But the Christian, we have a different motivation.
Now, you saw in the all over the world, of course, you've seen the demonstrations for Israel and against Israel, and it has been shocking for many to see how much support Hamas, after these horrible atrocities they've committed, has received. What about Latin America? How have the Christians stood up in Latin America for Israel?
I will begin to mention this context. Chile has the biggest Palestinian community outside the Mediterranean. The biggest community of the world, Palestinian community. And Honduras has the second largest Palestinian community of Latin America. What happened here? Most of them get there maybe 100 years ago. They left Bethlehem, Beyala, Beit Sahur. What does this mean? That they are Orthodox Christians. But somehow there is a story to tell. There is a Palestinian speech around the world that is touching the feelings of the people. But in countries in Latin America, you can find mixed families of Palestinians with Jewish. You can have very dear friends that are Jewish and very dear friends that are Palestinians. That's my personal case. I have so many dear friends that are Jewish and so many dear friends that are Palestinians. My emphasis is that the convictions that we learn from the Bible will give us the chance to reconcile and to have a honest speech. I had the opportunity to interview a Palestinian pastor from Honduras and Mexico. He is my friend. Actually, he is the one who baptized me. he came last year here, and I'd made arrangement for him to visit the home of his four grandparents, the parents of his mother and the parents of his father. And now I invited him to this interview when he, with the Bible, with the open Bible, says, Hamas does not represent us. And we, as Palestinians and at the same time as Christians, can accept that the Jewish people are the people of the Lord without fearing that we are going to lose our identity, but with the whole conviction that the Lord includes us by grace in His promises. So there is a mix of feelings that requires a strong teaching of the truth according to the Bible that gives the people in general to be courageous, to open their mouth through social media, through their relations everywhere, and leave their voice so their political leaders can have a support to act accordingly.
Well, I understand that it's much more complicated, but at the same time, it's quite surprising that you have these Christian communities that have come from, the time of the British Mandate of Palestine, and it's quite amazing that they have such a position. I didn't know that, so it's encouraging to hear that. And maybe you want to say a few words for our viewers as we are concluding this time. What is on your heart? How should they pray for Israel in this time?
First of all, I think we should pray letting the Lord fill our own spirit with His spirit of humility. When I read during my seminary time the book of Romans, and I got to chapter 11, I had this difficult in my mind, and my conclusion was, this is a challenge for every Christian. This is the chapter to be humble.
Romans 11.
Romans 11. We cannot tell the Lord how to treat, how to manage the Jewish people. We cannot tell the Lord, we cannot even tell the Lord that I deserve something, because the promises of salvation were made to Israel, and we as Gentiles were included only by grace. And to understand that the Lord is the Almighty, that the Lord is, as almost every prayer here, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Él es el Rey del Universo. He is the King of the universe. And He is in control. And He is leading the history to His purposes. So we have this conviction of the promises. In Latin America, most of the people are focused in the future prophecies. In the middle of those, they have fear. But I think the fear is gone when you come to the point to be humble and recognize that He is the Lord of history, He is the Lord of the universe, He is the Lord of the situation now. So our first prayer should be, in my heart, to have a sincere love with Israel. There is a word that we evangelicals love to say regarding us, that the Lord loves us unconditionally. But that's the kind of love that we are called to show to the Jewish people.
Thank you. Thank you, Miguel, for these words. This is profound, what you've shared. Thank you for coming today. And to all of you, we wish a beautiful time at this Christmas season. And remember to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, because those who love Jerusalem will prosper. Those who bless the seed of Abraham will be blessed.